It's been a long time coming for this style of episode where we talk about one actor, all of his work.
I want to see if I can guess your favorite Matt Damon movie and you can guess my favorite Matt Damon movie. Yeah, whenever I watch Bourne Identity, there's just like so many good moments that like flash me back to being a kid sitting in the chair. The Bourne Identity trailer, circa 2002.
He has the skill
The announcer.
of a dangerous man.
I need to know what went wrong.
I think he snapped.
But he has no memory.
Here's that music.
We don't take care of this. We just
I knew it.
Welcome to Backseat Directing.
We talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
We're your hosts,
Andrew.
and Aaron.
We put out new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
And on this episode, we're doing an actor deep dive on Matt Damon.
3, 2, 1,
Action. Matt Damon is one of both of our favorite actors. And we haven't done like an actor only episode since, I don't know, like episode 17 or something, when we talked about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson right before Black Adam came out. So it's been a long time coming for this style of episode where we talk about one actor, all of his works. We're going to be going over some of his box office statistics and what different types of roles he's been in. And we're going to talk about his best movies, his worst movies, kind of some of the ones in between. I'm really excited because there's a handful of Matt Damon's movies that hold a special spot in my heart. You know, grew up watching the Bourne Identity series. You know those.
He was in those?
Yeah,
Who was
actually, he's actually has this like small like cameo role in them as Jason Bourne.
Oh, snap.
Yeah,
Ah.
you wouldn't even know it.
He was good
until
in
you
that.
knew it.
He
Yeah,
was good in that. I remember him now.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. But yeah, I'm excited to talk a little bit more about Matt Damon.
Well, my first question for you opening this is, I want to see if I can guess your favorite Matt Damon movie and you can guess my favorite Matt Damon movie.
Ooh, that's okay. Yeah, let me. I want to pull up the list because there's a long list. So actually, I know yours. I know yours off the top of my head. I think
I think I have a guess for yours, but I don't feel as confident in yours as you probably feel in mine.
unless if you're throwing me for a curveball, I think I know yours.
I might throw you for a little bit of curveball. We'll see. I'm going to write down my guess for you. All right. I'm ready when you are.
I don't have a pen. Thank you, sir.
Unprepared.
Unprepared. This was my pen. You took my pen.
But I had it.
Okay, is it Deadpool 2? Is that your favorite? That movie, I actually don't remember him
Good
being
movie.
in.
Who is he in? Oh, he's probably...
It said Redneck number 2 or something.
yes, no, when they're talking about wiping their butts when he travels in time. Yeah. I forgot that. He has a lot of Marvel cameos then, because he's also in Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, I'm just kind of looking through to make sure I know
And then
my favorite Matt Damon movie.
And then who else? Brad Pitt is also in Deadpool 2. He's the like invisible guy. So when he gets shocked by the telephone wires, you only like briefly see a flash of his face for a second, and that is so funny. I think they traded cameos for that because Ryan Reynolds had a cameo in Bullet Train, which is a Brad Pitt movie.
A lot of people had a cameo in Bullet Train, just kind of popping up out of nowhere.
But Ryan Reynolds had like the shortest one, I think. It just shows his face as that like guy who missed the job. Channing Tatum has a cameo in it. The girl who I really like from The Boys.
Yes.
Kimiko.
Yep. All right. You ready?
3, 2, 1. All right. So for Aaron, I guess The Bourne Identity.
And I guessed Good Will Hunting. I don't know if the camera can really see these, but
you are correct with Good
I'm
Will
correct.
Hunting. Yes.
You're correct with The Bourne Identity.
Let's go. See,
Yeah.
we know what we're doing.
Is it his best movie? I don't know. I could see the argument for Good Will Hunting or maybe some of his other ones, but it's definitely my favorite, just because I've seen it so many times. When I first watched it, I wanted to be a spy. You know, like it's just you. Sometimes you watch movies at like that influential age, you know, like 12, 13, and it's just like locked in your heart for the rest of time.
Yeah,
you know?
whenever I watch Born Identity, there's just like so many good moments that like flash me back to being a kid sitting in the chair. Like I
Yeah.
love when he's like, "How come I know how to tie all these knots? How come I know how to
Mhm.
play chess, but I don't know my own name?" And
Yeah,
like,
I rewatched all of the Bourne films not too long ago, and I did really like them, but I noticed some things with like the cinematography and stuff that I was like, oh, like I see what people are talking about, you know, like sometimes shaky cam's a little too much for me, especially maybe because I'm older. Maybe it's just old people don't like it because they just can't
our
keep
brains
up
can't
with
keep
the shakiness. But
Yeah.
as a 13-year-old, I was totally on board. I loved it. I remember I would make little short films with my sisters, you know, and I'd be doing the shaky cam with my camera. I just thought it was so cool, man.
Yeah, I think the first one is the best. But Good Will Hunting is a movie that holds a special place in my heart because it's so emotional, and it's one of those movies that like got me into liking dramas more than other movies. It was like one of those bridge movies. I remember watching when I first started dating my fiance. We were like trading movies. She told me to watch What's Eating Gilbert Grape because she thought it was dramatic and she thought it was something that could convince me that she liked dramatic movies. And then she pulled her mask off and she was like, "I hate dramatic movies," after we'd been dating for a while. And I was like, "Ah, damn it."
Yeah,
But
my wife did the same thing too, like pretending she liked movies, and now she doesn't.
they're sneaky.
Yeah, they get you.
I asked her to watch Fight Club, which she liked. And I asked her to watch Good Will Hunting, which I remember we watched it. We hit play at the same time on Netflix, and we were like on a phone call the whole time we watched it, and like back in high school, talking about the movie while we watched it. So that's how much I love this movie and how important it is to
My
me.
wife and I did that with a few movies. The one that I remember the most, I thought was oh no, we did it with a show. We did it with Lost a lot, where we would just be on like the phone while we're watching.
Yeah.
But we did it with some other movies too.
But that's the
Yeah,
thing
that's
for me
fun.
is like when I meet a new person or somebody's becoming important in my life, I'm like, "What's your favorite movie? Have you seen these movies?" And instead of like a whiteboard. But we also want to play a game. So to get you guys an idea of what we're going to go into this deep dive, we're going to go over Matt Damon's career in total. So we'll pick some of like the highlights. We'll pick some of our favorite movies to talk about in specificity, but we're going to go over a lot of his movies. We're going to talk about box office trends with his movies. We're going to talk about just his career as a whole. But before we delve into those specifics, I want to play a game where we see how many of Matt Damon's highest grossing movies Aaron can guess. I have a list of Matt Damon's 10 highest grossing films that he has appeared in any capacity. And we'll see how many of the top 10 Aaron can name just based off memory alone.
All right, so appeared in any capacity, so not necessarily like a lead role or supporting
Yeah.
role, right? So the cameos count, right? And we already just mentioned Deadpool 2, so I feel like that's got to be pretty high. Didn't that bring in like 800 or something million?
No, you're right, but it's not on here. So this list must actually
What?
this list must actually
Doesn't include his
It
cameo?
doesn't include cameos, but it includes supporting and starring.
Okay, all right. Well, then that one doesn't count, but it was a good guess.
It was a good guess.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and lock in Oppenheimer. Final answer.
Correct. That is number one. Oppenheimer is sitting at 955 million worldwide box office.
He was in Thor: Love and Thunder.
That's also a cameo.
Okay, so that one doesn't count?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so he was in Ford versus Ferrari. I feel like that, I don't know how much that one made.
Ford versus Ferrari is down lower on the list, not in the top 10, but it made 224 million, so pretty low.
Okay. I'm going to say, what about The Martian and Jason Bourne?
The Martian is number 2 at $653 million, and Jason Bourne is number 7 at $416 million. So you have 3 of the top 10. To recap while Aaron's looking, he has now Oppenheimer, The Martian, and Jason Bourne.
I'm not sure. I don't think this counts as a cameo. I think it's a bigger role. I'd say Interstellar.
Yes, correct. Interstellar is listed at number 3 on this list. All this information is coming from thenumbers.com. So Interstellar has $647 million. I think IMDb has it over 700. So that's why I mentioned that we're the source.
What about Ocean's 11?
Yep, Ocean's 11 would be number 5. So you just skipped over number 4 there. Ocean's 11 at $450 million.
Can you give me a hint? Are any of the other oceans involved?
Yes.
Both of them?
Yep. There. So I'll give you those because you're
Yeah.
basically naming the trilogy. So number 10 is Ocean's 13, and number 8 is Ocean's 12, with respectively 311 million and 362 million dollars.
So what spots am I missing now?
So number 9, number 6,
Okay.
and number 4. Number 9, 6, and 4.
All right, let's go ahead and put in Saving Private Ryan.
Yep. You got number 4, fourth highest grossing of his career, 485 million. Spielberg movies bound to make money. I will say number 9, I would never guess.
Oh, so it's not Good Will Hunting then.
No.
Okay.
It's a smaller movie, dramatic movie. It probably
That's what I was thinking. Like maybe it could sneak in there at
It did
9.
make 225 million, which is pretty impressive. So
Yeah.
that's down below, like in the 15 to 20 range.
You said you wouldn't expect this one?
Yeah.
I feel like that means I probably haven't seen it. So
There's 2 movies left.
is The Departed on there?
The Departed is at 12, just outside at 289 million. So
That's it?
I'll give you a hint. One of the movies you named a franchise.
Okay, is it Bourne Supremacy?
Yes. Bourne, or
Or is it Ultimatum?
it's Ultimatum. Bourne Ultimatum comes in at number 5.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. Comes
These
in
aren't
number 6.
this list that you have isn't numbered?
It's not numbered. Hey, you sent it to me. It comes in at number 6, 444 million. And then the only thing left is number 9, which I would not blame you for not guessing this movie. The reasoning being, and this is a clue here, that it seemed to do terribly. It's a movie that is lauded for being bad.
Okay, is it Asylum?
No. It came out in 2017. Takes place in another country
The Great
besides.
Wall.
Yes. Yes. The Great Wall, number 9. Expectedly the last one for you to guess, 311 million. Just because, like, who would have thought the Great Wall would make it into his top 10? There's that famous story where his daughter is like, "Oh, you know that movie you were in, The Wall?" And he's like, "No, The Great Wall." And she's like, "Dad, there's nothing great about that movie." Roasted.
Dang. Okay, so now I'm looking at the list. So we have Oppenheimer in 1, The Martian, Interstellar, Saving Private Ryan, Ocean's 11, Bourne Ultimatum, Jason Bourne, Ocean's 12, The Great Wall, and then Ocean's 13 at 10.
And Supremacy's just outside the list at 11. Then Departed, Elysium, True Grit, Good Will Hunting, Ford versus Ferrari, Bourne Identity, and it goes on and on.
Crazy that he hasn't been in a movie that's made $1 billion.
Yeah, with his career. I mean, Oppenheimer, if they throw it back into theaters for a little while, it could easily cinch that last 45 million.
Dang.
It would still be crazy that it took him until 2023 to.
I'm kind of surprised with his box office numbers. Maybe like these superhero movies really just skew numbers so hard, because when we like see, especially when we're doing like our box office draft, we're trying to get the movies that are going 800, $1 million. But that's not the norm. Like a $400 million movie is mind blowing still. We're just skewed. Like even True Grit, it's one of my favorite ones. That wasn't even in his top 10.
What do you think?
Or even The Departed. That's a fantastic movie, and it's held really high in a lot of people's thoughts of regards of movies.
Which character do you think is most iconic, or which do you think is his most underappreciated?
Most iconic, Jason Bourne, I would say.
I
feel like that's
unequivocally agree.
Yeah, he's in 4 movies. There was a spin-off movie because of it as well.
You can say Oceans is great, but like I looked.
He's
at
more of a side character.
I didn't even know his name was Linus in that movie.
He's
Jason Bourne.
Yeah, he's really good.
Jason Bourne.
Yeah, he's really good in the ocean movies. Don't get me wrong, but he's kind of like the third act behind
George Clooney, Brad Pitt,
right?
Matt Damon. He was young when they started that. What do you think's most underappreciated?
Underappreciated.
It's hard to say because Good Will Hunting is very much appreciated. So I love that, but I don't think I can call it underappreciated.
Right. I don't know. That's really hard because I feel like the movies that are good, like, are appreciated, and then because he's been in some movies that just aren't good, and we'll get to some of those here shortly.
I think
but
Tom Ripley and The Talented Mr. Ripley, I don't hear talked about enough. And for you, I could see you saying True Grit because I feel like no
Yeah.
one talks about him in True Grit as Le Beef
Yeah, I feel like no one really talks about True Grit
in
in
general.
general. Like that, I think that's a really fantastic movie. We actually did a full episode on True Grit, and yeah, I really do like that movie a lot.
I've got some other career stats here as well. So, as an actor, Matt Damon has had leading roles in 36 movies, supporting roles in 16 movies. He's been listed as lead ensemble member in 7, cameo in 7, an extra in 2, a narrator in 2, and an interviewee in 2.
Whatever that means.
He has 8 producer credits, 4 screenwriter credits, and 1 story creator credit. He's worked with Ben Affleck on a number of movies as well. I think around 12 to 14 movies in different capacities, whether it's starring alongside like in Dogma or Jay and Silent Bob, Good Will Hunting, or producing alongside each other and starring like in Air. So they've worked in a lot of, they've both produced a lot of movies together, but they've also had other various roles working together. They've been best friends since they were in, elementary school age, growing up in Massachusetts together. And that relationship's really fascinating as well. Stood the test of time. I just saw them sitting together and then announcing together at the Golden Globes. So they're obviously still very close. You find lots of interviews that they do together. They do charity work together. I think they're like a really fascinating Hollywood duo.
Yeah.
Because their friendship seems really,
Genuine?
undamaged and genuine, and like it hasn't changed throughout all these years, which is uncommon in general. But I feel like especially once you enter this world, like it pays to have somebody close that understands what you're going through. They're both a huge celebrity and work in movies in the industry, so I think it behooves them to keep that friendship going, as for most people it would to keep a friendship going. But a lot of times those friendships fall apart from a young age.
Yeah, friendships in general fall apart, but then also being in this Hollywood spotlight, I feel like makes it even harder to hold on to relationships with friends, families, acquaintances, everything it seems like gets blurred,
I love the way that when you see them together, they give each other a hard time because there's no it doesn't seem like their friendship is performative at all. Like,
Right.
You see him on, I think it was like Jimmy Kimmel talking about how Damon wouldn't let Ben Affleck into his text group because they have a group that plays Wordle together, and he said Ben Affleck had to get his scores up before he'd let him in. And then there was a charity video they did where they were like going back at each other, and Ben Affleck's like, or we could talk about who did the bulk of the writing for Good Will Hunting, and they're like both making fun of each other. They just seem like fun, genuine guys.
That's awesome. Yeah. Speaking of both of them working on a project, you want to talk about the movie that kind of kickstarted both of their careers, that being your favorite movie of Matt Damon's filmography, Good Will Hunting.
One of my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Here we go again. That is this list. We're going to do an episode on Andrew's top 10 list.
Eventually.
Yeah,
so that movie is really, really special. That is a movie that if everyone didn't already know, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were, I believe, acting students at the time. They were both college age, and Matt Damon had an assignment to write a script. He wrote a script for what was originally like a spy thriller. It was about a young genius who, was entering into being an agent, and they showed the script around, and they got the suggestion to workshop it and scale back on the action elements of the story and upscale like the emotional elements of the story. And so they workshopped the script together and came up with Good Will Hunting, this really cool story where they left the role of the therapist ungendered when they wrote it so that it would be more applicable and more open to anybody who read the script. They really wanted to draw in as big of a star as they could to give the movie some gravitas and some like notoriety before it came out. And so they ended up getting Robin Williams, and he just crushed it with the dramatic chops. When you see Robin Williams with a beard in a movie, you know you're about to cry.
Yeah, one of the few Robin Williams serious roles,
But when he does it, it's
so good.
momentous.
Yeah, I wish we got more of that, He did such a good job, but then he does a fantastic job at his normal style, comedic self. This movie has, let's go with the year and stuff that it all came out. It came out in 1997. It's rated R, 2 hours and 6 minutes long on IMDb. It's got a 8.3 out of 10 for the budget. Any idea what that is, Andrew?
Probably really low, like 20 million.
Even lower, by half of what you thought.
Wow.
That's $10 million. And then that brought in $225 million.
That's a huge
That's a big jump.
success.
Big jump.
Especially in 1997.
Yeah.
That money is, inflated
Almost
even
30
today's
years
standards.
ago. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
wild.
we're coming up on the 30-year anniversary in 2027. That's insane.
Yeah, I know.
But they did such a good job. The strength of that movie is the screenplay. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the directing's amazing. The acting by all the stars is really good, but I think the real strength and the highest quality of that movie is the screenplay.
Maybe one day we'll be able to do something
That-
that like
Fraction.
yeah,
Touches
exactly.
the fraction of that greatness. Yeah. It'd be an amazing
maybe
goal.
maybe in like 50 years, two friends are doing a podcast talking about, hey, isn't it awesome how Arron and Andrew are still friends after all this time?
There's no chance.
Yeah,
There's no way we'll be friends.
That's probably true.
Have you can you tell me if there's any Oscar nominations for Good Will
Yeah, let
Hunting?
me pull it up. Coming here. Yeah, it won 2 Oscars.
Screenplay?
Loading. Hold on. Okay. Nominee for Best Picture. Nominee for Best Actor in a Leading Role, Matt Damon. Winner
Robin
for
Williams.
Supporting Actor, Robin Williams. Nominee for Best Actress Supporting Role, Minnie Driver. And then nominated for Best Director.
Wow, no
Gus Van Sant.
screenplay. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought the screenplay was really incredible, but they it depends on the year, and they don't always agree with me. So, but
I mean, still to win like 2 Oscars
yeah, and then for the
for
first
the
movie
movie
they wrote,
the movie that you're working on out of film school.
they're so talented in that like they write and star, and Ben Affleck obviously has an incredible directing career now with like The Town and Oscar-winning Argo. So like they're very multi-talented. These two.
Yeah, it's very cool dynamic that they have, and then
Now they have a
skill
production
set.
studio.
Yeah, what is it called? Let's see.
But they started this production studio with Air in the name of like getting more of spread the wealth for the different production studios. So they gave percentages with their movies to the head of every department, cinematography, costuming, everything.
Pearl Street Films.
And then Ben Affleck, I believe, is in charge of the company, and Matt Damon is in charge of like the creative side, I believe.
I'm looking up an article.
We talked about this
here.
back in our Air episode, but that was like March of last year or something like that. So
Yeah, I'm not sure, but that does sound about right, if my memory serves me correct. One's kind of on the artistic side, one's on the working side, All right, let's kind of continue through his filmography here. You want to just go ahead and jump to my favorite of the movies, and that's the Bourne Identity
Jump to
series.
Jason Bourne, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. Let me pull it up here. The Bourne Identity. So this movie came out in 2002, so only 5 years after. So it's rated PG-13, an hour and 59 minutes, and it has a 7.9 out of 10. Which I'm curious what John Wick has on its rating.
Just to compare the two.
Yeah.
Jason Bourne, obviously a big.
John Wick a 7.4.
Wow, he's such an amazing career. Some of the movies even just jumping ahead 5 years, some of the movies that we skipped being Saving Private Ryan, The Talented Mr. Ripley, Ocean's 11. Just going forward 5 years, that's all the movies that we just passed over. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's wild. You want to talk about Saving Private Ryan real quick and like how he got that role?
So for Saving Private Ryan, at the time, Spielberg was looking for a relative unknown actor to play the role of Ryan, because the point of that movie is trying to get this last private. So a mother during World War II, she has, I think, 3 sons, and 2 of them die. And they have to report to her that 2 of her sons are dead, and one of them they can't account for. And so they set a team with a specialized mission of finding this person. That's the mission of the whole movie, to find the last Ryan, so that they don't have to tell this mother that all of her sons are dead. And so it's like momentous when they finally find him. They wanted it to be somebody that could endear the audience, but that the audience didn't already know. And so the director of, I believe, Gus Van Sant, the director of Good Will Hunting, was friends with Spielberg and suggested this young actor that he was working with at the time of Good Will Hunting. I mean, Matt Damon had other acting credits, but he's a small role in Mystic Pizza. He's in a movie called The Rainmaker. He's not the big household name that he was, that he has come to be now. So he suggested him for his acting talents, and Spielberg cast him. But then in '97, Good Will Hunting comes out. All this Oscar buzz that we just talked about. Now he's a huge name. And then 1998, Saving Private Ryan comes out, and the point's kind of been swept under the rug now.
Yeah. So if you knew that he was in the movie, you knew he had a big role, and when he comes up, that he was going to be important.
Yeah, I think was kind of the idea, right? Is that
Right.
like credit wise, you'd be like, who's going to be Private Ryan?
Right.
There's even a misdirect at one point in the movie, but
Yeah. Cool story. Very cool story. Jumping back to the Bourne Identity, finishing off the stats of that movie, $60 million budget, and it brought in $214 million. In comparison, John Wick was a $20 million budget, so $40 million less, but it only brought in $86 million.
and John Wick has probably made so much money since then, though.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it's so crazy that it made that little with how big of a household name John Wick is now.
Right.
It also shows how good of a movie you can make on $15-20 million. Like that John Wick was that
absolutely.
cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy the story premise around like the Bourne series, where he's this spy assassin who loses his memory, doesn't remember what or who he was working for, but still can recite all of his skills and knowledge towards actually being a spy. So now he's trying to figure out the agency that he was working for and basically like clear his name to like get himself removed from that agency, and then eventually just shut down the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Project Treadstone.
Treadstone.
I think it's cool that it's based on like a real story. Like this guy, I think they called him Patient HM, and it's the story that taught scientists that there's a separate part of the brain from like our general memory, which I believe is stored in like our frontal cortex. There's a separate part of the brain that kind of carries our like habits and skills than the part of our brain that carries like our general memory.
Mhm.
And this patient received head trauma and like forgot his past basically, but could still remember how to do like certain learned tasks, you know, like tying shoelaces and things we do every day. So it's an interesting like psychological phenomenon to base a movie off of, and it adds such a special layered, like not just to the performance, but to the overall movie when it comes to like action movies in general, you know, because there's so many spy movies and like there's so many versions of like the government turned on them and now they have to take their last stand to prove their innocence or what have you. Every Mission Impossible movie ever does this. So I feel like they put a special layer on this to make Bourne Identity unique, and it really stands out to me. One of my favorite action movies of all time.
Do you want to watch this trailer for the Bourne Identity real quick?
Yeah, it's about to have
I
that.
feel like it's gonna be a pretty cool throwback.
I feel like it's gonna be music like it's gonna be like whooshes like this summer. Yeah. It's definitely gonna be like really, really fast,
So
like
funny.
whooshes.
All right, so we're gonna get through this commercial here, and then I'll pull it up. All these whooshes. Yeah, it's gonna be so funny. I also don't know if I've ever actually seen this trailer, because by the time I watched it, it's already been out for a few years.
Yeah,
You
I mean, I was like 3 when this trailer came out.
3?
It's 2002, right?
Yeah. Dang. You're young. I say that as if I'm like a lot older than you, but I'm not. All right. I got all the audio levels set. Where'd this movie go? Why isn't it on here? Sorry. Technical difficulties here.
I'm trying to look like ahead at some of like the upcoming movies, and I'm remembering that you
Nope.
told me he was in Ponyo, which is so funny. Ponyo's a Studio Ghibli movie, when they always get great American voice
What the
actors for the American dub, like Christopher Nolan doing voice work in The Boy and the Heron, or I'm sorry, Christian Bale doing voice work in The Boy and the Heron and Howl's Moving Castle. He's done twice.
Okay. I think I got it figured out now. Sorry for the delay. Some of you got to see a little bit of the behind the scenes of what we're doing over here. But we are rolling now.
The Bourne Identity trailer, circa 2002.
He has the skill
The announcer.
of a dangerous man.
I need to know what went wrong.
I think he snapped.
But he has no memory.
Here's that music.
We don't take care of this.
I knew it. It has like a. His fighting has like a really cool quickness to it. You know, they're down on the ground before they even know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you $10,000 to drive me to Paris.
I get the money, and I don't get hurt.
That's the deal.
Now, the government's top agent.
I get the money and I don't get hurt. Is that in the movie?
I don't remember that line.
Pizza?
I don't think that line's in the movie now.
Yeah.
Their number
'Cause I
one
watched it pretty
target.
recently.
What's in Paris?
It's a name, Jason Bourne. Let's see if the Paris.
Look at all these negative like film flashes,
And survive.
Talk a lot.
You know what I mean?
speed
About
ramps.
the cuts and the.
Is to find out who he is.
I guess you're not home. Monsieur Bon.
I don't recognize
Monsieur Bon.
recognize any of this.
Before they
That lady
find
goes
out
on to be a bigger
I think I got
part of the plot in
Where
the,
he
the
is.
sequels.
Get everybody up.
I gotta rewatch Ultimatum because I rewatched the other two recently. And I say the other two, not counting Jason Bourne as a movie. The fight sequences are kind of few and far between in this movie, but they're so like impactful.
Yeah, they're
that
good.
It doesn't feel like you're missing anything, and the dialogue and stuff is really good. The character interactions outside.
The sound design of the fights is a little dated,
Yeah,
but
I see.
if you can get past that, everything else is really cool.
I have everything they put inside me.
he is.
Everything I ever learned.
These movies have some great car chases too. I will say,
Make it stop.
Yeah,
both supremacy and identity.
I'd say Ultimatum or Identity and then Ultimatum,
Identity.
and then Supremacy is the order of my like.
Ranking.
Yeah,
Doug Liman, I think, made these movies. I don't know if he made the first one.
he has the skills.
Why did it say
that was a fun little throwback.
It says Born Identity trailer, Brian Cox movie. Brian Cox plays like the head of the Treadstone Project. This is a Matt Damon movie. This isn't a Brian Cox movie.
That's funny.
That guy's the go-to villain though, because he also played the guy in X2, Wolverine's like maker.
Oh yeah, that's
And then
right.
he's the villain in Succession too. Like he plays like one role.
Typecast.
He's good at it.
If you were to be typecast, what do you think that role would be for you?
Computer nerd or something. Comic book geek.
That's funny.
Unathletic background
Oh,
viewer
come
number
on.
one.
You're letting Jay's opinions get to you. You are strong, Andrew.
Why? What do you think you'd be typecast as?
Me?
Like handsome stud.
I don't know. I feel like playing the villain would be fun. I don't know if that's how I'd be typecast.
That's not the question.
I know. I don't know. It's like probably like the douche. Especially like my hair is dyed blonde or something, you know? Like,
That's a good answer. That's funny.
it's true, right? I mean, come on. All right, back to Matt Damon, shall we?
Typecast as the goat.
Yeah, right. What movie do you want to go to next? I'm skimming through to get down. He's got so many movies. I'm skimming all the way down to. We kind of passed over the Ocean's movies. He kind of has a side role in there, but does a great job in those movies. What, all three of them were in his top 10 highest grossing movies?
Two, and
Two
then
of
one was
them?
like the 11th.
Yeah.
Just outside. So they're obviously very successful. I did not know he was in Inside Job. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. It's one of his narrator credits.
Mm.
There's 2 narrator credits, if I remember correctly. Let's see. What's the next best movie on here? I can hardly
About
remember
The
watching some
Departed.
of these.
2006.
Oh my!
That's one of-
2004. It should be. This
Did I say that wrong?
it was 2006. You might.
That's what
you're
this
probably
says.
right.
On IMDb, yeah. On this
Well,
list here.
IMDb knows what they're talking about. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I could have sworn it was 2004.
Yeah, 2006, rated R, 2 hours and 31 minutes, an 8.5 out of 10. Won 4 Oscars. Scroll down to the budget here. Long page. All right, $90 million, and it brought in $291 million.
If I'm remembering correctly, his character's name is James Sullivan. Colin Sullivan. Okay.
Colin, yep. But yeah, he's playing the right hand or right side of I'm sorry. My brain just stopped.
He's playing
I have like something like in my eye and it like totally messed me up. I don't know if you saw me like itching my eye and then I just completely lost my sentence after that.
He didn't
But I'm
itch his
trying
eye.
to say
It's an excuse.
he was playing a role alongside Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes. So he plays where I thought you were going. Jack Nicholson's right-hand man in this movie. He is a state police officer who is secretly a rat or a mole for the mob. And since Jack Nicholson, I believe it's the Irish mob then. But it's also Boston, Massachusetts, so that makes you think they're Irish too. But this is an incredible movie, in my opinion, one of his best performances. I think it's crazy to say his best performance is in Good Will Hunting. It's my favorite. But like to say he did his best work in 1997 and hasn't topped it since, I feel like is almost an insult. Don't you think an actor would feel that way?
Yeah, but it was just
But
so,
it's
good, right?
Yeah. I feel like it's just a testament to how good that role is. But he's really incredible in The Departed. Like he's slimy, he's despicable, and it's cool because Matt Damon has played a hero for a lot of his career. I mean, looking down the list of these movies, he is like a titular character. He's on the good side. Even in Ocean's movies, they're breaking the law. They're the heroes of the movie. But for this movie,
Or Jason Bourne. I mean, he's an assassin, but he doesn't remember it.
But he's a good guy. He didn't kill that guy in front of his kids. He's got an assassin with the heart of gold, my friend. But for this movie, he is slimy. Like I said, there's a point where he's like waiting for Leonardo DiCaprio to turn a corner or Costigan, and some random person he stabs them, and then he leaves them to die in the alley. Like he is a bad guy. And so I think he does a really good job of selling this.
Yeah, a great movie. Again, 2006. That was after Ocean's 12. So we've already jumped past Ocean's 11, jumped past Ocean's 12.
It's going to be the height of his name notoriety, don't you think?
Yeah, Bourne Supremacy came out in 2004. So yeah, this is probably like peak Matt Damon time. 2007 is Ocean's 13, and then Bourne Ultimatum same year. Yeah. So yeah, he was on top of the world in 2007.
In 2007, he had just been in a Oscar-winning, like a Best Picture Oscar-winning movie. So his career was really coming to an all-time high here. And
then also in 2007, he did a voice acting job in the TV show Arthur.
Interesting.
For one episode.
Why was Matt Damon in Arthur?
I don't know. Isn't that hilarious?
The show with the talking animals. When you're walking down the street.
Looking at this, I was like, that's so random. Okay. Oh, he was in a music video, probably for Saturday Night Live. I'm effing Matt Damon. As iconic, 2008. Then we're jumping up again, 2009, The Informant. You saw that, right?
I saw it when I was a kid, and I just remember I've always said since then that The Informant is the worst movie I've ever seen.
I just
remember really...
That's crazy because the worst movie I've ever seen is also a Matt Damon movie, but it's not this one because I don't think I've ever seen this one.
It's because we like to go into watching movies just for Matt Damon. So we watch movies we probably otherwise wouldn't watch. The plot of The Informant is about a corn conspiracy. That's how boring this movie is. Let me see if I can just find a quick summation of the plot. It looks like it's almost like maybe it says thriller/comedy. So I watched it when I was young. Maybe I just didn't understand
thriller comedy.
It must be a dark comedy.
Yeah.
Because I probably wasn't prime age for a dark comedy. So it says the U.S. government decides to go after an agricultural business giant with a price-fixing accusation based on the evidence submitted by their star witness, Vice President turned informant Mark Whitaker, played by Matt Damon. And this movie was just goofy and hard to watch and slow and super boring. That's how I remember it.
I kind of want to watch it.
Now I need to give it a second watch to see if it's still the worst movie I've ever seen.
I kind of want to watch it. But that's right after kind of what we said was the peak of Matt Damon.
Which if you watch, if you look at the graph on thenumbers.com, there starts to be a downward trend in terms of his box office return, because he is rated, I think, the 19th highest grossing actor, bless you, of all time, and he's got a really long career amongst actors to account for that. So to explain that disparity, number one is Samuel L. Jackson, who's been in so many movies, but also so many profitable movies, because so many Avengers movies, he was in the first Jurassic Park, Star Wars movies.
He's literally been in everything.
And then you've got right below him Robert Downey Jr., who's been in a ton of huge movies also. Now Oppenheimer, $950 million. So
he's in second?
Yeah, second.
Dang.
So
yeah. Endgame and Infinity War probably helped out a
boosted.
bunch.
But yeah, I think Scarlett Johansson might be third. So Marvel.
I know she's up
carries.
there really high.
Marvel
Yeah.
carries.
Yeah.
But Matt Damon's down at 19th. So I think recent years have started to bring his average down because he's done a lot more movies that are not box office juggernaut movies, and like I would say more on the purposeful side. Like he's picking different roles he wants to do, characters he finds interesting, dramatic, smaller movies. It's not like he's choosing to do blockbuster movies that are just flopping. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Air was never going to make as much as like Avengers. And you know that going in. It's a biopic movie about Michael Jordan's shoe.
Right.
But he's choosing to do projects he likes to do. So I think the box office can. I think his popularity has come down since that time we talked about. People still obviously revere him. He's still a household name. The popularity's come down a bit, but also I think that has to do with the projects he's choosing, and it's a personal desire. Is how I interpret it.
So from the informant, we have Invictus, Green Zone, Hereafter. All of those slowly climb down in IMDb scores. And then we have a bit of a jump coming back up to one of my favorite movies in 2010, and that's True Grit, which, if you don't know it's Matt Damon going in, you might not realize that it's Matt Damon the whole time.
Plays La Beef.
He plays this marshal in this Western movie, and he doesn't look nor sound like himself. It took me a little while to even realize that that was Matt Damon when I first watched it back in 2010.
That is an actor.
That's right. I was also 14, so a lot of things do kind of slip past the 14-year-old, you know? But yeah, True Grit's awesome. Like we've already said, we have a full movie review on True Grit. Was that last year that we did that? That me and you watched that and then did it?
Yeah, it would have been last year.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big window, but
Yeah. But that was your first time watching it,
yeah,
right?
I'd never seen it.
Um,
Haley Steinfeld, so good at a young age.
the next movie, oh yeah, she was phenomenal in that movie. The next movie, 2011, we have The Adjustment Bureau, which I remember liking back in 2011, but it's been since 2011 since I've seen it.
It's been 12 years.
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure if it's good or if I just liked Matt Damon.
You might have to watch it again and adjust your opinion.
Haha. Did you see it? Or
Yeah, I
you
don't
just don't
think
remember it?
I finished it. I watched part of it when I was young, and I remember being kind of confusing and slow.
Contagion also came out in 2011. I remember liking that too. Kind of same thing as Adjustment Bureau. It's been a while since I've seen it, so not sure if it was my skew towards Matt Damon or if the movie was actually good.
I feel like this will get
But
easier.
It's kind of like a intense movie, you know, like a lot of tension, kind of like a thriller, you know.
Yeah.
And I really like those types of movies. So
As we get into our 30s, I feel like our memory for the movies will be better because we'll have seen the movies like in our 20s rather than having seen it when we were like
Right.
15.
yeah,
You know, I feel like your memory.
even like before 20, like my view on movies was a lot different, especially now being kind of having my toe dipped in like the industry of making film and stuff. And I just have a new appreciation, you know? And then of course you have a better understanding of what's going on in the movie the older you get. But yeah, you're so right. These movies that I'm watching like this last decade, I remember much better and enjoy more than what I used to have seen them before.
Paying a lot more attention.
We Bought a Zoo. That was funny. That was a good movie.
I'm
Happy
sorry,
Feet.
you skipped over Happy Feet 2.
Yeah, Happy Feet 2. I jumped back there. I didn't even realize he was in Happy Feet 2.
Yep.
Again, actor.
He's got like 3 animated roles.
Yep. Kind of skipping forward, this movie could be seen as kind of like a disappointment. Asylum, 2013. Elysium. I remember being excited for that movie.
You said that
and
earlier.
wanting it to be really good.
You said that earlier, and I didn't even realize you were saying Elysium.
Elysium.
I was like, oh, he was in another movie that I've never heard of.
My bad. You know, I don't ever read words. I just see words as pictures. So if the picture of the word is close enough to word, that's the word I'm saying. Like that's just how it works.
Asylum. It's just an Aaronism. That's all.
It's just how it goes. I can't fix it. It's just the way it is.
I feel like that movie was disappointing. I feel like the trailer looked really cool.
Yeah, the whole concept seemed really cool.
I have no recollection
And then
of
it just
the movie, though.
It kind of just fell flat.
Like I've seen it, but I just don't remember the plot, which tells me that I didn't like the plot very much.
Yeah, I haven't seen these next ones here. The Zero Theorem.
The Monuments Men I saw, it was I believe directed by George Clooney, starring George Clooney, has a crazy cast, John Goodman and all these actors. what's his name? The guy from Ghostbusters and he's a comedic actor. Dang it, he's in
It's okay. Just take a moment.
Oh, I hate when I can't think of an actor's name.
Who does he play in the movie?
He's one of the leads of Ghostbusters, but he's in a lot of movies. He's in Zombieland. He's in
Bill Murray,
Osmosis
John
Jones.
Goodman,
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
So it's got a really stacked cast, but I did not enjoy the movie. I thought it was very boring. Kate Blanchett's in it also. The cast is absolutely insane.
Well, this next movie you enjoyed quite a bit. Coming out in 2013, Christopher Nolan's Interstellar.
Yeah.
And it was...
Except it came out in 2014. Got you that time.
What did I say?
13.
Did I?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
We'll check tape.
All right. Just comment down below. What did I say? 2014 or 13?
He said
'Cause
13, guys. I just heard it.
I don't know, but I just said it, and I'm pretty sure I said 14.
I want to bet.
No, I don't want to bet,
Well,
but
we should bet.
I don't want
Just $5.
No, I don't have $5. I have to fund this whole podcast.
You have less money than Dwayne Johnson had.
Yeah. 2014, sorry. Interstellar came out, and this one was on the top 10 most grossing movies of Matt Damon's career. It's rated PG-13, 2 hours and 49 minutes, rated an 8.7 out of 10 on IMDb.
I think it's his highest rated movie.
Is it really?
I have a ranking of his highest rated movies on IMDb. Interstellar at number 1 with 8.7. The Martian with an... Oh, this is not in order. 'Cause The Martian has an 8. Saving Private Ryan with 8.6. Looks like the next highest. Where's Good Will Hunting? The Departed has 8.5. Good Will Hunting has an 8.3. So even though they're not listed in order, I think I named them in order.
Budget for this movie, Interstellar, was $165 million and brought in $731 million. This was his first time working with Christopher Nolan, and then he joins back up with Christopher Nolan later in his career for his most recent movie, Oppenheimer.
Where is Oppenheimer on this list? I have him now ordered by highest rating to lowest rating, and Oppenheimer is not on
On here it says 8.4.
Okay, so Oppenheimer
for
would
IMDb.
fall. It would fall right after The Departed, but above Good Will Hunting at his fourth highest rating movie is where Oppenheimer would place.
The Martian, I remember enjoying that movie quite a bit. That was where he's kind of stuck on Mars by himself, and he's a smart scientist. It's kind of funny that Interstellar came out, and then he was in his own space movie a year later. So probably the way that it went down was they were filming Interstellar in space, and they ran across Matt Damon also filming in
He was
space.
in the neighboring space studio.
Yeah, so they were like, "Hey, do you want to jump in at the end of this movie here? Kind of be a little surprised, And they were like, "Yeah, sure."
So he hopped in a rocket and rode it from Mars, where they were filming The Martian, to the next planet over where they were filming Interstellar.
Yep,
And shot scenes on break and then came back.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story of how actors and directors get connected,
Yeah.
And then the much anticipated Jason Bourne came out in 2016.
No. I saw this in theaters.
I remember liking it, but I don't remember liking it as much as the other ones. I would like to watch it again. I did watch all of the other ones recently and Legacy, and I actually really like Legacy on my rewatch. To me, it's definitely the best cinematography out of the series. And it's got a really good story too. Also, Jeremy Renner is in it, and he's phenomenal.
I come to the Bourne movies for Jason Bourne, so
I know you're a
hater.
main character lover, and it's hard for you to separate. But
I also just don't like recastings in general.
it's not a recasting.
And
It's a-
it feels like it.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
see where you're
exactly-
coming
He's
from.
a unique character, but
We also have Oscar Isaac in Bourne
that's
Legacy.
cool. But for me, I just don't. Yeah, like you said, I'm a loyalist.
When was the last time you seen it? I feel like you might like it
I
now.
haven't watched it since it came out.
Yeah, I feel like you might
For
like
that
it now.
reason.
It's a good movie. Jason Bourne, I don't remember enough to really say how it compares to the other ones. I mean, I've seen the other ones a handful of times,
Yeah.
you know. Saw that one just in theaters, which I remember liking it. But again, I think it's just because I like the character so much.
After Jason Bourne, though, we come to his legendary 9th highest grossing movie of all time
The Great Wall.
for Matt Damon, specifically.
And then right after that is Downsizing, which I hinted earlier, one of my least favorite movies is a Matt Damon movie, and Downsizing is that movie. And man, I was so disappointed watching this movie. My sisters were over, we're just kind of all hanging out, and we're like, hey, you want to throw on a movie? And we're like, yeah. And we're just kind of flipping through Netflix. We saw this one. The trailer actually looked pretty cool.
The concept is a really cool idea.
Yeah, it's like they're shrinking to save space and
Resources.
and stuff, and they go live in this like small little town or city, but it just wasn't what was advertised is not what you got. You know, the movie didn't really seem to have any direction at all. It kind of just felt like life. Like they're just living life. There was no real direction
No
or point
problem.
or no goal to get to. Like it was a disappointing movie. Basically, I'm gonna spoil it here because you don't need to watch if you haven't seen it. But basically, him and his wife decided to actually downsize.
Kristen
And-
Wiig, I think, is his wife.
Yeah, they decided to downsize and basically they shrank to like 6 inches tall or whatever, and which is like something that I used to think of like as a kid, you know, like watching Stuart Little or something or Honey Shrunk the Kids. Like, how cool would it be to just be like really small and the world's so big, you know, like everything turns into a jungle gym. How cool. But right at the last minute, his wife backed out and didn't shrink, but then didn't show up in the rest of the movie either. So he's just on his own now, halfway through the movie or the last 2/3 of the movie without the family connection that we were slowly kind of getting used to, you
Doesn't
know?
he meet another girl?
Yeah, it's weird. He meets another girl, but it's
Do they speak the same language?
she speaks broken English. So like she understands English stuff. She doesn't speak it fully, but basically he's a therapist, a physical therapist or an occupational therapist. Sorry. And when he's
Yeah, know the difference. Okay, buddy? We're not all the same.
I got you. But he ends up at this like party, and she is the cleaning lady of the guy's house that he's at, and he like somehow ruins her leg. She has like a prosthetic leg. So he's like trying to fix it for her or whatever, ends up breaking it more. He goes to her house, whatever. So now he feels like indebted to her because he broke it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a different job. That's a prostitution. They have different school for that. So
Yeah. And it was weird, man. They ended up falling in love. Good for them.
but not good for you because you wish you didn't watch it.
Yeah, it was. We finished that movie too, which was mind blowing. It was a task. Okay, let's see if we can go on to something a little bit better. Oh, hey, look, Thor Ragnarok. There we go.
He has a great cameo in that where
That was really funny.
he plays Loki, I think.
Yeah.
In the skit they're putting on for Odin, who is actually Loki in the opening of the movie.
Unsane. I haven't even heard of that one.
Unsane? Yeah, I haven't heard of that either.
And then we have Deadpool 2. Again, he's just in there for a second. So here's his next big movie role, and this one's actually rated pretty good. And that is Ford versus Ferrari. Have you seen this movie?
No, but it's Matt Damon and Christian Bale, right?
Yeah, we need to get on it.
Yeah, I would really like to see that.
My mom was asking me the other day if I saw it, and I was like, no, but I really, really need to.
Looking at these movies, that's probably the top of my list for ones I haven't seen that I want to see. What about you? Is that
I would agree. Just at the trailer right now that's kind of playing on IMDb, the cinematography looks really good.
that or Saving Private Ryan, right?
Oh yeah,
Which,
that's true. I
a good
haven't seen
movie.
that
Yeah,
one
you should
yet.
see that. So I would probably put Ford v Ferrari at the top of mine.
Yeah, let's see. Ford v Ferrari came out in 2019, rated PG-13, 2 hours and 32 minutes long. Why is every movie 2.5 hours?
Make some more hour-and-a-half movies, please.
Don't you miss those movies
Yeah.
like from like the early 2000s, late 90s that like an hour and a half, really easily digestible, but good story development. Like, bring those
Yeah,
back.
even an hour and like 45 minutes is still like
hour 50, you know, like, why is everything over 2 hours?
it's a lot more digestible. It's a
Yeah.
lot closer to an episode of TV than 2.5 hours is.
Right. But this is an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb.
Really good
so
score.
good movie for him, especially as of lately. You know, I feel like this is kind of like his top movie up until this point for the last few years prior.
He plays Carroll Shelby in that movie, and he works for Ford, right? So
Mhm.
is the Shelby named after him? Like the Shelby Mustang, I guess.
Yeah, I think Shelby is like a partner. I'm not 100% sure because there is like Shelby Mustangs, but then there's the Shelby GT that they were driving or whatever.
'Cause obviously he wouldn't own Ford because that's what Henry Ford or
Yeah.
whatever his name is.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think it's like a partnership with Ford.
Okay.
Budget for Ford versus Ferrari, 97.5 million, and it brought in 225.
It's pretty successful.
Yeah.
Let's say they made a profit.
Yeah, not bad. Not as good as Good Will Hunting. And then now we're getting pretty close to present day. Oh, I just lost my actors list. I went to the producers list.
I
Scrolling back
wanted
up.
to talk about The Last Duel, which is coming up here. Came out October 15th, 2021. Made $30 million. He plays Jean de Carouge in the movie. And this is a movie I told you I watched a while ago, right?
Oh, this went straight to streaming, right?
The Last Duel? I didn't know that.
I think it did, and I think that's why the numbers are so low because it had to have gone streaming.
It's a Ridley Scott movie.
Yeah, it's $100 million movie that brought in $30 million. So I think it went straight to Netflix.
So The Last Duel is a streaming movie that is the second collaboration between Ridley Scott as director and Matt Damon starring. It also has Adam Driver, and it has
Nicole Hawley,
Ben Affleck,
Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon as writers.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. It's cool that I think what I remember thinking is really cool about this movie is it has 3 writers, 2 men and a woman. And the story takes place from the perspective of 2 men and a woman. So
that's really cool.
The story's played out in 3 acts, and it says The Truth According to Jean de Carouge. That's the first one. And that shows Matt Damon's perspective. And then it plays the same story, but then it's The Truth According to Adam Driver's character. And then it's The Truth According to the main character, I'm trying to remember the actress's name. Can you tell me? She's in Free Guy.
Is it Jodie Comer?
Yeah, Jodie Comer. So and then she's the last one, and it basically tells the same story 3 times, but changes all these details.
That seems like a really cool concept. It's like each of them are the main character, but each of them are the supporting character.
Yes,
That's so cool.
And then like you can see where like they're each the hero of their own story, you know? And it's like you get The Truth According to Jean de Carouge, and you think like, oh, like you don't know when you're watching at the beginning that there's going to be all these other truths. I just thought it was like this from this guy's perspective the whole movie. Yeah. And then you get the next one, and it's like, oh, like maybe things aren't what they seem. And then again, so like that's why I think you should watch it, because it's a really cool movie about the nature of perspective, how like subjectivity can change like your truth, and they do it just.
It looks cool.
It's like a Groundhog Day movie, except like the same story is. It takes very subtle differences in their acting sometimes to portray like, because you know in Matt Damon's version of the story he's like, oh, I'm this great guy, and then it's like,
how cool from like an actor's perspective and even the writer's perspective too, to redo these scenes, but like doing them in a different way. Yeah. That's really cool. And as like a cinematographer, you know, like,
well, it's cool writing too.
Yeah.
And there, like I said, there's those 3 people that.
That's okay. I'll add that to the list.
3 people writing a story with
2 hours and 32 minutes. So I gotta take a vacation day for that one. You know,
it's slow. It's not my favorite movie, but I like the
cool concept.
Conceptually, I like it a lot. It's a cool creative endeavor.
Okay, and then in 2023, he was in Air and Oppenheimer.
2 big movies. Yeah.
2 big movies. We went and saw Air in the theaters. We did a review on that as well that you can find on the channel. I enjoyed the movie.
We did a review on Oppenheimer too, right? Yeah.
Did we do one?
We talked about Oppenheimer and Barbie extensively.
I forget if we did a solo one or if it was a Barbenheimer episode. I know we talked about it.
Yeah.
And we talked about it a lot. But yeah, Air, I like that movie. It's definitely a little bit slower. I think I liked it more too because I really like The Last Dance and the documentary that surrounds Michael Jordan. So it's just cool to see like that story in a different way, you know. Thought the acting was really good, but the story is a little bit slow, and it does kind of hinder the story that you don't ever see Michael Jordan, which I don't know if it would have been any better unless if you had the 1990s Michael Jordan in there, you know. They intentionally did not show us an actor's face playing Michael Jordan.
He's such a larger than life person. They didn't want to try to have to recreate that.
That's exactly what Ben Affleck was saying, because he was the producer and director for that movie. Or, yeah, he did direct it, right?
Yeah, and one of the stars.
Yeah. And then Oppenheimer, of course, did amazing. It was the second highest grossing movie of 2023.
General Leslie Groves.
Yeah.
Third highest.
Third? Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep.
Forget about one of your team members.
We had Barbie in first, and then Super Mario Bros. In second, and then Oppenheimer. So, second live action.
I didn't let you finish your sentence.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Oppenheimer.
A movie that's going to be getting tons of Oscar buzz and Oscar success coming up here shortly. It just totally wrecked the Golden Globes, taking home a bunch of Oscars for Robert Downey Jr. and for Best Picture and all this. So then it's going to receive a lot of praise at the Oscars as well. So he's killing it still career wise, like being one of the biggest movies of the year, 2023.
Yeah, if I remember correctly too, we both picked Matt Damon as like one of our favorite roles and performances of Oppenheimer. Just every time he's on screen, man, he's captivating.
We picked him as one of our favorite actors in general too. When we did our like top five actors of all time, we did a shared list and we agreed on Matt Damon definitely on the list.
Yeah, what a stud career, you know, that he has. Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite. There's a lot of these movies that we covered today that I would love to just go and watch now. You know, Good Will Hunting. I'd like to see Saving Private Ryan for the first time. I can throw on the Bourne movie whenever. You know, yeah. What a career.
His $5,684,000,000 aggregate career box office. He's been in movies totaling $5 billion. That's a lot of money. He's 53 years old. He was born in 1970. He's still got time left to make a bunch more movies, dude. He can make movies into the Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine years.
That's right. He's got 20, 30 more years.
I hope he never stops.
Yeah, I know. I love seeing him in all of his movies. There is one movie that got away from him. You know what that is?
Is it a superhero role?
Nope.
What was it?
Avatar.
Oh, I remember this story. I think you told me this.
Yeah, he was supposed to be cast as the main character, Jake Sully, in Avatar, and was offered 10% of the earnings of Avatar, which brought in, what, $2 billion?
Wasn't that when he was working on, like, Jason Bourne?
Yep.
And, yeah, he felt like he had such a big stake.
Because Avatar came out in, what, 2009? So literally, like, right at the end of that peak of what we were saying Matt Damon's career recognition name was.
Of course they wanted Matt Damon.
Yeah. Came out in 2009. Let's see how much it made real quick. I think I'm pretty close with the $2 billion.
Yeah, it made
$2.9 billion.
Basically three. What the hell?
So what's 10% of $2.9 billion?
Isn't it $290 million?
That's insane.
Good Lord.
He missed out. He missed out on that.
But I could see his creative commitments, like, but just imagine, like, your morality costing you that much money. Like, he could have been an asshole and forsaken, like, the project that he was working on in name of just chasing money.
What do you think you would have done if you're in the middle of this kind of like franchise that you're building? You know, the first one, because he's probably working on Supremacy.
Yeah. I mean,
so like, what would you have done?
The thing is, you don't know how big Avatar is going to be, but you know that you're being approached for a James Cameron movie. And James Cameron, at this point, has already directed the Titanic. He's already directed Terminator 2. You know it's going to be a big movie, probably.
I don't know how far into production that he was, you know, like, because that could play a role too, because you're not just affecting yourself if
Other
you turn it
people's
away. Like other
livelihoods.
people are making money off of this project, and some like aren't as well off as a top A-list actor like
Yeah.
yourself.
And you don't want to also ruin professional relationships for the higher up people like producers who stand to make money off the movie that you'd be screwing over. So you don't want to develop a bad reputation in the industry because your reputation is your longevity in the industry. You know,
Right.
if people don't want to work with you because you're unreliable, then how many other roles are there?
It's a tough choice. It's a tough choice. It's hard to do.
I feel like I probably would have made a similar choice to him because
Yeah, there's too many factors.
I don't want to be like stressed out leaving on project, gambling on another.
Now, if it was just in like plans, you know, or like we haven't started the actual production of things, I feel like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll hear out this opportunity. In 2 years, we do Supremacy, you know? But I don't think that's how it was. I think he was kind of in the middle of it, which crazy. How do you think Matt Damon would have been in Avatar?
I feel like the role of Jake Sully is not super special. I feel like that's not what makes Avatar special. I feel like it's everything else. But I feel like Matt Damon would have been great.
Yeah. Do you think he would have elevated it or just kind of been at the same as what's his last name?
I don't remember.
Wentworth or something like that.
Wentworth Miller. That's the star of Prison Break. No, I don't know if he would have like elevated it to where I would love Jake Sully's character. I just feel like the writing for Jake Sully is like he's very main character coded. He's like a basic main character. I feel like he's got a good heart. He's a good guy.
Definitely the world that you're investing into.
You're investing in Pandora, I think.
But still, it still blows my mind. How did that movie make $3 billion?
Everybody and their grandmother seeing it 5 times, apparently.
Yeah. Dang. I remember when it first came out and how like crazy and how much everyone was talking about it. Word of mouth was fantastic for that movie.
Yeah, dude, it's spawned even more than that 2.9 billion. So many products and toys, and has a giant section at Disney World. Like
Got a brand new video game that just came out.
Yeah, the New Frontier or whatever.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's really playing it.
I don't think so either. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. I thought it looked cool, and then saw some of the footage, and I was like,
yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts on Matt Damon actor deep dive from today's episode?
Just that I love him, and I hope that he keeps making movies. I mean, I want to see him make a movie with every director out there.
Maybe one day we could have him on the show. How crazy would that be?
If we grew that big, I would. That's a great. If I could like sit and
freaking lose my mind,
hang out and like chat with some celebrities. Like imagine Matt Damon and Ben Affleck at the same time, just getting to talk to them like about their careers.
Yeah,
and that'd be so cool.
That'd be sick. That'd be awesome. And hopefully, if we ever do get in that scenario, it's kind of like this where we're just chilling out. You know, like we're hanging out, talking. You know, and I would love to hear like the stories that those guys have.
Yeah, Matt Damon, just hit us up if you want to be in our next short film. Our email is backseatdirecting22@gmail.com.
Yeah, reach out to our assistant, and we'll get you booked on our show. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching Backseat Directing's deep dive into Matt Damon's career. If you liked this style of episode where we're kind of breaking down and talking about an actor's or an actress or even a director's movies and filmography, let us know in the comments down below who we should do next, because this was a lot of fun and there's so many more people that I'd love to talk about all of the stuff that they've worked on. Movies are just so cool, man. But we post new full episodes every Monday and Thursday. But then every once in a while, we're throwing in extra stuff out there. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. We're on social media. We're posting every single day there. Go like our pages, Backseat Directing. We're putting in a lot of work, so it'd be cool just to see that little like, you know.
Gratifies us.
That's right. Makes it feel like we're slowly making it, you know. But yeah, we love doing this. Thank you so much for listening. We also have a Discord if you want to join in on the conversation. Maybe give us a recommendation for a movie to cover or a draft to do or a movie debate or whatever. Let us know. Thanks so much for watching. Andrew, did you have something to close out with?
I did want to also try to remember to thank our Patreon members with each episode.
Boom.
Jay and Keegan, thank you for supporting the show. And
that's a wrap.